Lisa Jones, what's going on here? I'm at the Veterans Memorial in Anthem. It looks like there's an event about to happen.
There is. Today we are so honored to be able to lay pavers for 12 Quantico Marine athletes from the 1960s who were killed in action, and one of them happens to be my uncle.
Awesome. Well, this is a wonderful day, beautiful day to have such a great celebration. Who do you have with you?
This is Mike Barrick. He ran track for the Quantico Marines.
Oh, hi Mike, welcome to Anthem.
Thank you.
All right, what do you think about this event?
Well, it is kind of a conspiracy that started a while back between both Lisa and myself. We have always felt that our motto of the Quantico Marines is "We remember," and we have been looking for a way to remember them after the organization eventually goes and we don't have our reunions. But that is one of the things. We felt that this was an ideal place to have memorial pavers installed so that they would always be remembered.
Well, and today is going to be that day, so we're going to have a ceremony here. I'll just pan down for those that are watching by video. We have all of the pavers ready to be laid, and Mike, you're going to assist in that process.
I came here with my work clothes.
All right, well, let's get started.
So the Anthem Veterans Memorial, or the AVM as we call it, was dedicated November 11th in 2011, and from the very beginning of the project, it was a local Anthem project. The gentleman behind kind of spearheaded the work was Rear Admiral Tucker, who is an Anthem resident. The engineer and the designer of the memorial itself were also Anthem residents, so it really was from the start an Anthem local project. And the designer went out of her way to make sure that every aspect of the memorial held some sort of symbolism that we could always point to. So you'll notice that the pavers, each of the 5 pavers, each one belongs to a unique service branch, and they're in the Department of Defense Order of Precedence. The Circle of Honor is what we call where the pavers are placed. So the pavers that will go in today will join the Circle of Honor, and the Circle of Honor really is, the meaning is kind of a solidarity. We have veterans that serve in multiple branches throughout the nation's history. So it's kind of a symbolism of them coming together as one. And same with the 2 perpendicular rows that surround the Circle of Honor. Those are known as soldiers' rows. And again, it's kind of a symbolism of a unit becoming one. So as it's enclosed, kind of bringing everyone together. The highlight of Veterans Day, when the solar spotlight shines through the ellipses, is the Great Seal of the United States. This is actually a hand-cut glass mosaic of the Great Seal, and you'll notice that the eagle is facing the pillars. So it's facing our armed forces, facing our veterans, as it looks to them to defend our freedoms and our liberties that we hold dear here in this country. So a bit of symmetry or symbolism that I don't know if it was intentional, but the flag of the United States, the red, white, and blue, is even here on most days. So we have the red pavers, of course, we have the white pillars, and then usually we have the blue Arizona sky. So even Old Glory is represented as well. And not to leave anything undone, even the benches that you see kind of flanking the memorial, there's 5 benches, and each bench represents a service branch, and it also represents the families of our veterans, because they also serve as well and they also sacrifice. So it kind of symbolizes their wait for their loved one to return from service. So again, the memorial is really just such a source of pride here in Anthem, and we are really looking forward to this being the 10th year of since its dedication, and so we're hoping that we can really celebrate that with everyone this coming Veterans Day on November.
My name is Mike Barrick. I'm a member of the Quantico Marine Athletes. This is a group that basically evolved over time, but in the 60s and 70s, the Marine Corps, along with other services, had athletic programs. And the Quantico Marine Athletes were people that had come in for basic training and were there for a time being, and then they would be sent to their duty stations. We had people that were certainly college level athletes, international athletes, and world-class athletes who were all members of that organization. The cornerstone of all what we're seeing here today goes back to an individual, Tommy Holden, who went to Annapolis, went into the Marine Corps, and then served overseas. He has received 2 Bronze Stars and was killed in Vietnam. But that wasn't the end of it. The people kept remembering him. They had pictures of him on their desks. Many years passed, it was possibly about 30 years, and people wanted to say, well, what happened to Tommy? And they began to look, and they basically were able to locate his cemetery in Bengal, New York, and a group of them went up there for the first time to remember Tommy. There was a Marine Corps color guard there, and everybody that attended was so impressed with the gathering, the camaraderie, that from that point they said, we should do this again. So the organization was evolved from that, and the purpose was to remember those that had served as athletes and in the Marine Corps, but were killed in Vietnam. The group, Tommy was the first person to be in, and the numbers grew as they found more and more athletes who had been killed in Vietnam that had also been part of the Quantico Marine organization. So we moved forward, and the whole purpose of the organization was to remember these people. And the Anthem at Memorial Day has a table set up, and they remember the fallen in the different branches of the service. We have a banquet at each reunion, and there's a table set up at the banquet floor, and it has now 12 spaces because we now have 12 people that were killed in Vietnam. There's a chair, the chairs are tipped forward, there's a rose for each of them, and the wine glasses are turned upside down. It is very similar to what you do here. So we're both in sync. It's a way of remembering these people. And as we've seen, the number has grown. So I'm standing right here is Tommy Holden's grave, his memorial grave. Lisa mentioned that I attended school at ASU, so I became aware of the memorial, and I came out here, and I will say quite by accident, I came across a paver. So I'm going to say the next cornerstone of this group is over here. John Bruce Capel, 2nd Lieutenant. This was one of our members. So I followed up with the organization to say, is there a way that I can make contact with the family and let them know I saw the paver and remembered him? That led to me meeting Lisa and her family. And Lisa and I are somewhat co-conspirators because we both independently have looked at this. This place would be a wonderful place for a memorial for all those that have fallen. Our motto is, we remember. And this is going to be, in addition to the monument that's at the Quantico Basic School. The only problem is that it's not a problem, except that you have to be in the Marine Corps to get in. And so this is an opportunity for the general public to see. And somehow, I think that when people come along and they start looking at this and they see KIA, USMC, they are going to identify that this is an associated group of individuals. And that's what we want. Thank you.
The first paver to be placed is Tyrone S. Parnell, was a 2nd Lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps, killed in action during Vietnam, November 30th, 1965.
Tyrone ran track for the U.S. Marine Corps. He was born in West Virginia and grew up in Amityville, Long Island. His track career began at Bishop Laughlin Memorial High School in Brooklyn, New York, where he was the student body president and set 3 school records for the hurdles. He turned down many college scholarships to attend Manhattan College. He was co-captain his senior year and one of the stars of the track team, where he won several individual honors in hurdles, high jump, and long jump. He was married right out of high school, and while at Quantico, Ty was a member of the track team, and his daughter was born at Quantico. In Vietnam, Ty was a platoon commander on patrol with his men, where a booby trap was tripped and Ty was killed. For several years, a Quantico Marine Track Competition trophy was given in Ty's name. Tyrone is a member of Manhattan College's Hall of Fame, and a Spike Club Shoe Track Club Award is given in his name annually. Bishop Laughlin Memorial High School gives an annual scholarship and track medal in his name. This is featured in a book and an HBO movie version of Dear America, Letters Home from Vietnam, including excerpts he wrote on to his 9-week-old daughter, Tracy. Ty is interred at Pine Lawn Cemetery in Suffolk County, New York.
John Bruce Cable was a second lieutenant serving in the United States Marine Corps, killed in action May 12th of 1966.
This one's going to be a little hard for me because this was my uncle. My Uncle Bruce played football for the Marine Corps. He was a member of the 1965 football team. He was born in Evansville, Indiana, and grew up in Chicago in a suburb called Glen Ellen, Illinois. He attended Glenbard High School, which is now called Glenbard West. Bruce lettered in baseball and football. His high school football coach lived behind him and watched him grow up. When Bruce was killed in Vietnam, his coach Deshaun created the Hitter Award for the most courageous player, not just on the field for sportsmanship, but off the field for character as well, in honor of Bruce. To this day, the Glenbard West High School football team is nationally ranked and called the Hitters, and my uncle is the original hitter. Bruce was recruited to play at several Division I schools, including ASU, Virginia Tech, but opted to walk on at the University of Illinois, where he played in the shadows of the All-American Dick Butkus, who was his roommate for away games. He played in the 1964 Rose Bowl that they won, and was an academic All-American honorable mention. The Illinois football team annually recognizes their most courageous player with the Bruce Cable Award of Courage. Many of his teammates went on to play for the NFL, and Bruce went on to play for the Marines and played at Quantico for the 1965 season, in which he received the Leatherneck Magazine's All-Marine Linebacker Award before being sent to Vietnam. Bruce was only in Vietnam for 6 weeks when he was killed while leading a 14-man patrol in search of what's called the Lost Patrol that was ambushed by a large force of Viet Cong. Only 2 from his patrol survived that day. Bruce is buried in his hometown of Glen Ellen, Illinois.
Gene S. McMullen was a second lieutenant serving in the United States Marine Corps, was killed in action July 16th, 1966.
Gene was a member of the 1965 Quantico football team. He was born in Westchester, Pennsylvania. His dad was in the Marine Corps, and Gene attended schools throughout the country. Gene graduated from Pinau High School in Hawaii, where he lettered in football, basketball, and track. He attended Penn State University, where he played football and attended summer training at Quantico. Gene entered basic school during the summer of 1965 and was a member of the 1965 Quantico football team. In May 1966, he was sent to Vietnam as a forward observer. He was killed in action July 16, 1966, by the Viet Cong counter-battery fire. He was buried with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery.
Walter J. Spanauer Jr. served as a captain in the United States Marine Corps, was killed in action September 15, 1966.
Captain Walter Judson Spanauer Jr. was a member of the 1962 Quantico football team. Judd was born in Lenoir, North Carolina, and graduated from Lenoir High School in June 1958. He graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in 1962. At Chapel Hill, he was a member of the Tar Heels football team and joined the Marine Platoon class, Leaders class, and attended summer training in 1961 and 1962. Judd played quarterback for the 1962 Quantico team, but their 5-2 season was interrupted by the Cuban Missile Crisis. After graduation from basic school, he attended the Underwater Swimmer School in Key West, Florida, then went on to Fort Benning, Georgia for airborne and ranger training. After USMC Mountain Warfare training at Bridgeport, California, and U.S. Army Special Warfare School at Fort Bragg, Judd ended up back at Quantico for counterinsurgency training. On On September 15, 1966, he was leading his Marines on an amphibious operation and was fatally wounded. For his gallantry, Judd was awarded the Silver Star.
Thomas J. Holden served as a first lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps, was killed in action October 22nd, 1966.
Tommy was a member of the 1964 and 1965 football teams at Quantico. Tommy was brought up in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, and attended St. Mary's High School in Rutherford, New Jersey. He was a three-sport star, excelling in football. After 1 year at Bullis Prep, he was sworn in as a Navy midshipman in the summer of 1960. At Annapolis, he won Navy's Most Valuable Defensive Player Award for his 11 solo tackles in number 2 Navy's loss to number 1 Texas in the 1964 Cotton Bowl. At Quantico, Tommy was an offensive guard on the 1964 team and a linebacker on the 1965 team. The Quantico Marine Athletes of the 60s was founded as a direct result of their search to find out where Tommy was buried. Tommy was awarded 2 Silver Stars, the second posthumously. Tommy is buried in a small cemetery in Bangor, New York.
John L. Pritchard served as a captain in the United States Marine Corps, was killed in action January 27, 1968.
Captain John Lee Pritchard was a member of the Quantico football team in 1961 and 1962, and also a member of the Quantico track team in 1962. John grew up in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and graduated from Southeast High School in 1957. He was a star athlete and outstanding student. He excelled in track, football, and basketball, winning All-American honors in basketball. He was named Young Man of the Year in the state of Oklahoma in his senior year of high school. John graduated from the Naval Academy in June 1961. As a midshipman, he was a member of the 1960 football team that played in the Orange Bowl. He was also a star sprinter and broad jumper on the track team. In 1959, he won the heptagonal broad jump championship. He was a halfback on the 1961 and 1962 Quantico football teams and a member of the 1962 track team at Quantico. From 1965 to 1967, he was stationed at the Naval Academy Prep School in Bainbridge, Maryland, where he taught military introduction and served as assistant football coach. On January 27, 1968, Captain Pritchard's company ran into a well-camouflaged North Vietnamese Army company. He led his man on repeated frontal assaults that failed to overcome the NVA resistance. Captain Pritchard was wounded in the fighting and evacuated, but later died from his injuries. Among his decorations are the Silver Star and the Bronze Star. He is buried in Arlington National Cemetery.
Ronald H. Brown served as a captain in the United States Marine Corps, was killed in action February 7, 1968.
Captain Ronald Howard Brown was a member of the 1965 Quantico football team. Ron was born in California. He played football at Los Angeles Valley Community College and Montana State before being commissioned in the Marine Corps in December of 1960. He coached football for the Marines in Okinawa, San Diego, and joined the Quantico staff as offensive line coach for the 1965 season. In Vietnam, Ron served as a battery commander assigned to Headquarters Battery. Captain Brown's convoy was overrun by an NVA force on February 7, 1968, and none of the vehicles from his convoy made it back. Ron was killed in the initial attack. He is buried in Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery in San Diego, California.
Paul F. Cobb served as a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps, was killed in action May 16, 1968.
Second Lieutenant Paul Frederick Cobb is a native of Suffolk, Virginia. Freddie Cobb starred as quarterback at Woodrow Wilson High School. Although heavily recruited, he chose to prep at Fort Union Military Academy. He attended Virginia Tech in 1963 and was a member of the football team. A scholarship fund was established at Virginia Tech honoring Freddie. In 1967, while at basic school, he was the starting quarterback of the Quantico team. Freddie's tour in Vietnam started in January 1968 when he was assigned as a platoon commander. On May 16, 1968, his platoon was assigned to reinforce an adjacent unit that was heavily engaged with a well-entrenched enemy force. During the operation, Lieutenant Cobb's leadership during the initial and ensuing assaults inspired his men to continue to advance and overwhelm the enemy to the point of defeat. He was awarded the Navy Cross posthumously. His final resting place is Sherwood Memorial Park in Salem, Virginia.
Paul M. McGrath served as a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps, was killed in action June 7, 1968.
Second Lieutenant Paul Martin McGrath was a member of the 1967 Marine Corps football team at Quantico. Paul was born in New Rochelle, New York in 1944. After graduating from Canterbury School in New Milford, Connecticut in 1962, Paul attended Villanova University where he pursued his passion for football as a reserve linebacker but never played in a game. Upon graduation from Villanova, Paul enlisted in the Marine Corps and while attending basic school, he was recruited to play football for Quantico. Paul returned to Villanova and finally started a game as captain of the opposing team. While in Vietnam, Paul wrote a letter to his parents addressed to whom it may concern. Paul's letter was read to the House of Representatives in September of 1968, 3 months after Paul's death. Paul is buried at Gate of Heaven Cemetery in Valhalla, New York.
Willard D. Marshall served as a captain in the United States Marine Corps, was killed in action June 11, 1968.
Captain Willard Dale Marshall was born and grew up in California. He was a 1961 graduate of the Naval Academy, where he was a member of the track team. He was a 1962 member of the Quantico track team. Prior to his second tour in Vietnam, Dale graduated from the Vietnamese language school and went to Vietnam as an interrogator translator. On June 11, 1968, Dale was team commander of the 19th ITT and was killed in action while on patrol to obtain information of intelligence value when his unit was ambushed by a vastly superior force of Viet Cong. Dale was posthumously awarded the Bronze Star Medal for heroic action. Dale is buried in El Toro Cemetery in El Toro, California.
John V. Francis served as a captain in the United States Marine Corps, was killed in action February 10, 1970.
Captain John Jack Vincent Francis was born in Berwyn, Illinois in 1944. After graduating from Immaculate Conception High School in Elmhurst, Illinois in 1961, John attended St. Norbert College located in De Pere, Wisconsin. There, John pursued his passion for football as a starting center. Upon graduation from St. Norbert, John enlisted in the Marine Corps and went to Officer Candidate School at Quantico, Virginia. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant and fulfilled his goal of becoming a Marine Corps officer. Noteworthy in recognition of John in high school, he played for Immaculate Conception, Elmhurst, Illinois, which is approximately 10 miles from Bruce Cable Glenbard West High School. John's Marine Corps commitment and courage was displayed on 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. He is buried at Resurrection Catholic Cemetery, Justice, Illinois.
Robert N. Smith served as a colonel in the United States Marine Corps, was declared missing in action August 19, 1969, later declared killed in action March 6, 1979.
Colonel Robert Norman Smith was prepped for the Naval Academy at Wyoming Seminary in Kingston, Pennsylvania. At Wyoming, he was a 3-year letterman who captained the football team and was president of his class. Bob entered the Naval Academy in 1944. He was a member of the football team and commanding officer of his regiment. Bob graduated in 1948 and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps. He played end on the 1948 and 1949 Quantico teams and was selected twice to all Marine teams. He was also a member of the track team while at Quantico, taking several first place in the javelin. Bob won his wings in 1952. He saw extensive carrier duty and served in various staff positions. On August 19, 1969, Lieutenant Colonel Robert N. Smith and his Rio, Captain John N. Flanagan, were to fly escort on a photo reconnaissance mission just north of the demilitarized zone. Bob's aircraft made one run over the target, and then he and the other aircraft separated. They were supposed to rendezvous for a second run, but Bob never returned for the second run, and contact was never reestablished. In 1995, Bob's daughter Robin visited his crash site in Vietnam and filmed a documentary about her trip that was shown on CBS's Eye to Eye program. Memorial services were held at Arlington National Cemetery. His marker is in the MIA section at Arlington. Maya Lin, the architect of the Vietnam Wall, who grew up in Athens, Ohio, was a neighbor of Bob's widow, Jane.